Hare Krishna. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, text 7. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriyaha sarva bhutatma bhutatma kurvannapi na lipyate. Yoga yuktaha, engaged in devotional service. Vishuddha atma, a purified soul. Vijita atma, self-controlled. Jita indriyaha, having conquered the senses. Sarva bhuta, to all living entities. Atma bhuta atma, compassionate. Kurvannapi, although engaged in work. Na, never. Lipyate, is entangled. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: one who works in devotion, who is a pure soul and who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. Please repeat: one who works in devotion, who is a pure soul, and who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. Let's see how it is translated here. Yeah. Purport: one who is on the path of liberation by Krishna consciousness is very dear to every living being, and every living being is dear to him. This is due to his Krishna consciousness. Such a person cannot think of any living being as separate from Krishna, just as the leaves and branches of a tree are not separate from the tree. He knows very well that by pouring water on the root of the tree, the water will be distributed to all the leaves and branches, or by supplying food to the stomach, the energy is automatically distributed throughout the body. Because one who works in Krishna consciousness is servant to all, he is very dear to everyone. And because everyone is satisfied by his work, he is pure in consciousness. Because he is pure in consciousness, his mind is completely controlled. And because his mind is controlled, his senses are also controlled. Because his mind is always fixed on Krishna, there is no chance of his being deviated from Krishna. Nor is there a chance that he will engage his senses in matters other than the service of the Lord. He does not like to hear anything except topics relating to Krishna. He does not like to eat anything which is not offered to Krishna, and he does not wish to go anywhere if Krishna is not involved. Therefore, his senses are controlled. A man of controlled senses cannot be offensive to anyone. One may ask, why then was Arjuna offensive in battle to others? Wasn't he in Krishna consciousness? Arjuna was only superficially offensive because, as has already been explained in the second chapter, all the assembled persons on the battlefield would continue to live individually, as the soul cannot be slain. So spiritually, no one was killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Only their dresses were changed by the order of Krishna. In this case, dresses means bodies. The body is like a dress on the soul. Only their dresses were changed by the order of Krishna, who was personally present. Therefore, Arjuna, while fighting on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, was not really fighting at all. He was simply carrying out the orders of Krishna in full Krishna consciousness. Such a person is never entangled in the reactions of work. So, this shloka is very important. There are a few important words in the shloka. I mean, every word is important in the Bhagavad Gita. But there are very key words in this shloka. Yoga yuktaha, phrases. Vishuddhatma, Vijita atma, Jitendriyaha, Sarvabhutatma bhutatma, then kurvan apina lipyate. So yoga yuktaha. Yoga we have understood last week as well. Yoga means connection. The basic in of course yoga you all know as exercise, that's what it is popularized as. But the root meaning of the word yoga means connection, link. So what is actually yoga then? So as we have already discussed before, yoga means to connect back with God. And what is the connection? To establish the relationship. Like, at least in traditional Indian marriages, used to be, nowadays it's a little bit changed, but it used to be that the parents, even now it is very much current, the parents select the, life partner, they matchmake. So when the matchmake happens, so there is, at least in my state, I think it's same in every state, but there is first sambandham. There is an event where they come and meet and they know each other just like an acquaintance first. Or even if you take, today's context where they are finding their own partners, there is first sambandha. A relationship is being established. You get to know the other person. And then once you know the other person sufficiently, then the trust in that person develops. For example, on the United States dollar bill, in God we trust, it is written there. In God we trust. But you can't really trust in God when you don't know Him. Just like a person may be very honest, but if he is a stranger to you, you wouldn't know who he is, how honest he is. You wouldn't know. So you wouldn't trust him with anything. He may be the most honest, but you wouldn't trust him because you don't know him. So it does not only depend upon the characteristics or qualities of that person, but your knowledge of the person matters. So however honest a person may be, if you don't know the person, you cannot trust the person. Similarly, when they say in God we trust, that can only happen if they know God, if they know who is God. And knowing means, yeah, God is great, that's not knowing Him. Knowing means just like when you know a person, you know him well, like you know his likes, you know his dislikes, you know what he wants, what he does not want, or what he wants of us, everything, and how he did everything, like how he created, like for example in case of Krishna, how he created and everything about him. Like if fan clubs are there in this world for everyone, like sports persons or movie stars or pop stars or whatever. Now, a fan means he will know about that person, cricket or soccer or whatever. You will know all the statistics of the person. Oh, he did this, he did that, he did this, he did that. So that is called in detail. That is what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. He says, instead of becoming a fan of somebody else, you become my fan. Why? He is desperate for fans or what? He doesn't have enough. No. It is for our benefit. In the chapter 4, text 9 of Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo vetti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sorjuna. Here the word is vetti tattvataha. Janma karma cha me divyam. My birth and activities are completely unlike the birth and activities of people in this world. They are divyam. Ours are not divyam. Like we did not choose. It's not out of free will we came here. We did not choose the family that we're going to come into, the parents that we're going to born, take birth to. We don't know anything. Our looks, our intelligence, our suffering, our enjoyment, how much is destined for us, that is destined. So, but in Krishna's case, it's not like that. He chooses his parents. Like Devaki and Vasudeva were his parents. And they became his parents because in previous life, as Sutapa and Prishni, they prayed to Krishna, Lord Vishnu, for 12,000 years with very severe austerity. They were eating, as husband and wife, they were eating only dried leaves that fell from the tree, and they were meditating on the Paramatma for 12,000 years of the demigods. Years of the demigod, the devatas means 1 year here is 1 day in the heavenly planets. 6 months is 1 daytime and 6 months is another night time. Uttarayana and Dakshinayana, we call it. That is actually day and night in the heavenly planets. So, when that happens, in that scale, in that time scale, 12,000 years. Such great austerity they did, and that's how they got Krishna as their son. So after their tapasya for Lord Vishnu, and then Lord Vishnu appeared before them. What do you want? No, we want a son like you. Lord Vishnu said, there is nobody like me. I will become your son. So, for 3 lives, he became their son. And one of these 3 lives is Devaki and Vasudev. So he chose, like Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj. Before Krishna comes down, like Lord Brahma, he went to, relate to Lord Vishnu in Kshir Sagar, in the milk ocean, that, earth is being overburdened by sinful rulers. Actually, Mother Earth went to Brahma to complain. And Brahma went to Lord Vishnu to, convey that. And Lord Vishnu asked him to prepare all the demigods to descend onto the earth. Those who are supposed to be my elders, they must go in first. And everybody, advance party. And then, everything arranged, then I'll come like the VIP on the red carpet. But actually he came in the prison house. But still, you see, he made all the arrangement. Even the prison is not a prison for him. When he wanted prison doors just open, all the guards were sleeping and the river parted and he just went straight. Nothing was blocking him. So it doesn't reduce the power of Krishna or he's imprisoned, not like that. So that's how he comes. So he decides, he just organizes the entire drama. So when he comes here and he performs so many activities for our benefit. When we do something here in this world, we are just forced. What is our case? You say our case is like this. In the 3rd chapter, the 3rd chapter, 5th verse, you can see here in the Bhagavad Gita, Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya karma krit karyate hyavashah karma sarvah prakriti jair gunai. Everyone is, what is that word? Forced to act helplessly. That is going to be dangerous. You can't put so many lamps in one place. You got to move it aside. You got to distribute. Be very careful with your cloth though. Take something else to push the thing. Can't let that happen. Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. This is our case. We are not doing here the Leela. Janma karma chame divyam. Krishna said, my activities and my birth are divyam, completely free. Whereas we are forced, you see, helplessly we are forced. That's why there is the rush hour, right? People have to rush to the office. Why? They're forced. Everybody is forced. And we are all forced towards death. We are forced. We can't. However much we may try to, decorate ourselves with cosmetics and facelift or whatever, Botox or whatever, the death is going to come. We can't cheat death. We may look so-called younger, but we can't cheat death. But it's also very artificial anyway. So here everyone is forced, but Krishna is a divyam. So once you know him, that's what Krishna is asking us. Okay, let's go back there. You see, evam yo vetti tattvataha. Vetti means know, tattvataha means in truth. You see, let's read the translation. One who knows the transcendental nature of my body, of my appearance and activities, does not upon leaving the body take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode. And one who knows. And what kind of knowing is this? Not just like an acquaintance, but in reality knows. Vetti tattvataha means this, knowing in reality, in depth, as much as He has revealed. It's not possible for us to completely know God. In fact, God is so great that He Himself does not know Himself. You may say, how can God not know something? Yes, He knows Himself, how great He is, but by the time He knows Himself, He is already much, much greater. And then His knowledge of Him also increases. Then His greatness increases. Then His knowledge of His greatness increases. There is always a competition between His greatness and His knowledge of His own greatness. So that's why He never really knows Himself. So if Krishna Himself with His infinite mind cannot understand Himself, what to speak of us? We can never. But as much as is revealed to us, we can and we should, if we are interested in God. And why should we get interested in God? Because knowing, trusting, and then loving. Like we say they say in God we trust. You have to sufficiently know Him to trust in Him. And once the trust also increases, then their affection builds and that turns into love. And why is that important? Why we should love God? Well, we are meant to love someone. We are meant to love someone. There is a nice verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. I think, let me try if I can remember. 20, probably 37. Yes. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antilila, chapter 20, text 37. Prema dhana vina vyartha daridra jivan, dāsa kori vetan more deho prema dhan. So here, without love of Godhead, my life is useless. Therefore, I pray that you accept me as your servant and give me the salary of ecstatic love of Godhead. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur poeticized this in English. He put it like a couplet. You know how he said it? This same shloka, but he translated it in his own way and made it into like a poem, verse. He said, life without love is poor and useless, they say. Engage me in thy service with love as my pay. You know, he said like that. So, because in this world, anybody who, I mean, if he doesn't have if he's not married or if he doesn't have a partner, oh, you have something wrong, I mean, I feel sorry for you. So, they say these kind of things. Like something is missing in life. But actually, here in this material world, relationships cannot really fulfill. Like a man who's not married, he desperately wants to get married. Once he's married, he desperately wants to come out. Both are lamenting. Dilli ka laddu, they say, जो खाया वो भी पछताएगा, वो नहीं खाया वो भी पछताएगा. The one who does not eat, he is lamenting. Oh, I have not eaten this. The one who has eaten, he is also lamenting. Why? Because he wants to eat more, but he cannot eat. Because too much eating, his health will become, big problem. So once he eats too much, then he also has to lament with disease, diabetes and all that. So in this way, material life is like that. No relationship, not only marriage, that is conjugal relationship, even friendship or even parental relationship, which is mostly considered pure, like the love between parents and children is supposed to be at least pure. But even that has so many anomalies in this world. So many disagreements, so many things go on. And friends, between friends, sometimes they act like friends, but when they really, like they say, a friend in need is a friend indeed. When the need comes, they really are not interested in helping, or somebody may cheat that friendship. See, in this way, there may be many anomalies in this material world. No relationship in this material world is perfect, but the relationship with Krishna, if we cultivate these same relationships of appreciation, of servitude in this world, if you are a slave to someone, you are doomed. Slavery is abolished. like what it was in like 100, 200 years ago. It is abolished because it's like a crime. I mean, it's very painful, atrocious. But Hanuman is proud to say that I am Ramaduta Hanuman. I am the slave of Lord Ram. He takes pride in saying that. It's not that he is harassed by Lord Ram. He is not harassed. He takes pride. So that is the thing. In spiritual world, every relationship is actual substance. Here, it is an imitation. Like children, they have these toys. Like I have seen the girl. She has these toys of food, like fruits and vegetables, and they even cut it half, and they put it with Velcro. That. And then there's a plastic knife, and you can cut it. But if you eat that, you can't eat it. It's an imitation. It may look something like a fruit or a vegetable, but you won't get any real satisfaction with that. It's just imitation. So like that, this material world is an imitation of the spiritual world. Here, all the relationships look similar, but they are with no substance. So now we are engaged in these illusory relationships. Another example is that mango. I have always given this. Prabhupada gave this. Like if there is a lake, a still lake, on the other side of the lake, if you see a mango tree with so many nice mango fruits, now you will see in the reflection an upside down tree with also mangoes there. Now those are, if there are 10 mangoes on the tree, below also there will be 10 mangoes. So you may consider, climbing the tree is very difficult. Diving into the water and taking those mangoes is easier. I will dive into the water. What happens? There is no mango there. It looks like a mango. There is no mango. Therefore, you get frustrated in finding a mango there. So similarly, that's what is happening here. We want the mango of the relationships here. We are meant to love, but we are looking for it in the wrong place. We are diving into this water, illusory water, and here we are in the reflection we are trying to find the reality. But then we, some people come to this conclusion that actually, there is no such thing as real love and something. Frustrated in material so-called relationships, and they say there is no such thing as, sometimes they even go to the extent of committing suicide. They think there is no use of life anymore, But it is like jumping into the water and looking for the mango. There is no such thing as a mango. It's just a bluff. No, that's a wrong conclusion. Mango is reality, but the way, the place we are looking at for mango, that is wrong. Looking for it in the wrong place. We have to look for it on the tree, not in the reflection of the tree. So similarly, this material world is a reflection of the spiritual world, and we are meant to be in a relationship. Like in Facebook, then a relationship status. In a relationship. Actually, we are always in relationship. Whether it is a conjugal relationship or a friendly relationship or a parental relationship or a servitude or appreciation, neutral appreciation, we always have relationships. But they consider, of course, only the conjugal relationship as a relationship. So now, even enmity is a relationship, by the way. If somebody is, if you are maintaining enmity towards someone, that is also a relationship. It is just called enmity. That's it. It is also a relationship. So, now, yoga yukto, the first phrase here, yoga yukto means that connection, that relationship we have to make with Krishna. Because we are actually Jiver Swarup, hoy Krishner Nitya Das. We are by nature as Atma, we are Mamaivamsho Jivaloke Jivabhuta Sanatanaha. In the 15th chapter, 7th verse, see Krishna is saying that Mamaivamsho Jivaloke Jivabhuta Sanatanaha. All the living entities in this material world are my parts and parcels. See, the living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. This is a state of viyoga, a state of separation. We are not connected with God now. We are not remembering Him. We don't even know how our existence is completely dependent on Him. It is said, Sutre Manigana Iva in the 7th chapter, 7th verse. That means as pearls are strung on a thread in a necklace, like that, everything that is existing is resting on His power. Now, if you see a necklace, you will only see the pearls or whatever it is there, but you won't see the thread. You won't see the thread. That does not mean there is no thread. If there is no thread, there is no necklace there. So just because I cannot see it, I cannot say it is not there. Similarly, at the moment, we may be unable to see God, but that does not mean He is not there. Just like a necklace, it is so beautifully arranged with the help of strings within, right? So, similarly, everything that is existing nicely in this world, everything is so much orderly, right? The sun is rising every day, setting every day, moon is rising, the planets are moving, the seasons are changing, the day and night, year after year is going. There is so much order. I mean, we are taking birth, all have 5 fingers on each hand. Of course, sometimes there is abnormality when this karma is not good, but whatever it is, there is an order, there is a pattern. They say, oh, evolve, evolution, and then this adaptation. No chemical can adapt and become a living being. Did we ever see some chemicals mixing and become something living? No, we never. It has never been in history. But they come to that conclusion. You see? That some chemicals, some thing, and they came together and formed some life. So, actually that is not a fact. So, life is always there. Body is made of these chemicals, but even in our body, now we can't see the soul, Atma. We only see the body. Now that same body, when I am dead, the body will be there, lying down, the same body. But I will not be able to speak anymore. I will not be able to move my hands anymore. The same hands. What is missing? Just like the pearl, the necklace, the thread is the invisible part of the necklace. Similarly, the Atma is the invisible part in our existence. We are the Atma actually. So, Yoga Yukta means now we have to connect with Him. And how to connect with Him? How to establish a relationship? What is the best way to actually establish a relationship? Even without God, even in this world, how to establish a relationship? Talk to Him. Know the person. Okay. No, you know the person kind of, but then how to cultivate the relationship? Please the person. That's why there is, even in companies, what they say, customer service. You have to please the customer. Then you will have a relationship with the customer. The customer will vouch for your products and he will evangelize your products. If the service is good, if the product is good, that's what it's all about. If you serve the person, just like it is said, the best way to a man's heart is through his stomach. That means serve him again. Foodstuffs. Everybody will like that's why we have prasadam. Even if you don't like the class, you get upset with the class, but at least we have the prasadam. So the best way to a man's heart is through his stomach. That means again pleasing. The best way to nurture a relationship is by serving the other person. But in this material world, every kind of service is imbued with a desire for some gain. Like, yes, I will serve you, but I want something in return for that. So that is not actually love. That is trade. It's called business management. Like MBA. That is MBA with God you are doing. But He is the master of business administration. He knows how to pull the strings. So we try to make always business with God. Come here, Krishna, please do this for me, do that for me, give me a promotion, get me a life partner, get me this, get me that. Always, I will do this vrat. So many things. They will break one coconut or 108 coconuts, something they will do, and they want something in return. So this is business. This is not love. This is trade. So Yoga Yukta means to engage in devotional service, to re-establish that connection with service. And how to serve him? How to serve him? I can't even see him. So we must follow his instruction. Actually, he is there in our hearts, he is right in front of us, everywhere he is there. Like Prahlad Maharaj, Hiranyakashipu asked him, do you think your God is in this pillar? He said, yes, he is there. Prahlad Maharaj could see, Hiranyakashipu could not see. Both are in the same room. So that's why an atheist, he will never believe that anybody can see God. Because he cannot see God, he thinks nobody can see God. Atmavan manyate jagat, it is said. He calculates the entire world according to his own experience. If he cannot do something, nobody can do. If he cannot see, nobody can see. Same thing, scientists also, they are thinking, because I cannot see on the moon anybody, there is nobody in the moon. Because man must live like this, with so much air. And so if anywhere there is not so much air, people cannot live. Like we can't live in water. Impossible. But there are living entities living in the water. It's not that because I cannot do it, nobody can do it. They are having fun in the water. So I can't do that. So we have to come out of this frog in the well, philosophy. What is that? A frog calculates. Frog was in this well which had a diameter of about 3 meters. So another frog came from another place and he said, you know what? There is something called Pacific Ocean. Oh, what is that? So much water you can't even imagine. How much water? So much, I can't tell you. How much? 10 times this well? Or 20 times? 100 times? 1000 times? 10,000 times? He cannot calculate. How can he measure the size of the Pacific Ocean in terms of the well that he is living in? This is called, what is that? Kupa Manduka Nyaya. Kupa Manduka Nyaya means the philosophy of the frog in the well. His calculation is only according to his own estimates. But he doesn't understand that his brain is not sufficient to estimate the power of the Pacific Ocean, the extent of the Pacific Ocean. Similarly, we think that we are big time. We're so big time that we can understand God with our mind. We cannot. Okay, let's see what Brahma says. I think he should have more intelligence than anybody else because he has 4 heads first of all, and he engineered the entire universe. Right? Let's see what he says. Srimad Bhagavatam. Jananta eva janantu kimba huktya name prabho manaso vapusho vacho vaibhavam tava gochara. There are people, Brahma is saying, okay? Remember that he is the topmost person in the entire universe. Okay? He is saying, there are people who say, I know everything about Krishna. I think Indians are first in this, top in this kind of claims. Let them think that way. Brahma is saying, let them think. As far as I am concerned, I do not wish to speak very much about this matter. He doesn't want to waste his time also speaking about them. Oh my Lord, let me say this much. As far as your opulences are concerned, they are all beyond the reach of my mind, my body and my words. Nothing. Absolutely no way I can understand you. Let them, maybe they understand. Maybe they are so great, but I am not. Now if Brahma is saying I cannot understand, I, one miserable rascal on this earth, I can understand. I can understand. With my puny head, I don't even know anything about my own life, and I can understand God. So we should take lesson from this. If Brahma is saying like this, who are we? So therefore we should never say, I know Krishna. What do you know? What do you know? Nothing, zero. We can never know. But what we can do is serve him and learn from him as much as he has revealed. And that serving him starts with tongue. You cannot grasp him, yes, like here. He said, mind, body, words, I cannot understand. Now, if you cannot capture with any of your senses or your mind, then how to serve him or how to understand him? Here, okay, see? Ata Sri Krishna Namadi Nabhavedrahyam Indriyaih Sevonmukhehi Jihvado Swayameva Spuratyadaha. Therefore, material senses cannot appreciate Krishna's holy name, form, qualities and pastimes. When a conditioned soul is awakened to Krishna consciousness and renders service by using his tongue, actually beginning with the tongue, Jihvado. The word is used Jihvado. Jihva means tongue, Adav means beginning with. Adi means the beginning. Adav means beginning with. So, beginning with the tongue, the entire body must be used in the service of the Lord. Mind also. If you see in our material life, we are also using our tongue only. Eating all kinds of, you are what you eat. That means how we use our tongue, and that's what we become. Now, if he is awakened to Krishna consciousness and renders service by using his tongue to chant the Lord's holy name and taste the remnants of the Lord's food, prasadam, the tongue is purified and one gradually comes to understand who Krishna really is. How to understand Krishna when we use our tongue? Yes, it's not our mind. Self-realization starts with tongue. Self-destruction also starts with tongue only. You eat nonsense, this is what happens. You see. You see this. The Shastras say, Papishthāye durāchārā deva brahmana nindakāh apatthya bhojanastesham akale maranam dhruvam. For persons who are papishtha, very sinful, and durachar, misbehaved or very unclean in their habits, who are against the existence of God, who disrespect Vaishnavas and Brahmanas, and who eat anything and everything, untimely death is sure. So self-destruction starts with tongue, self-realization also starts with tongue. And if our tongue is uncontrolled, there is a nice verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Jihvar lalase jai iti uti dhai shishnodar parayan Krishna nahi paya. What is that? Jihvar lalase jai iti uti dhai. This is Bengali. One who is subservient to the tongue and who thus goes here and there, devoted to the genitals and the belly, cannot attain Krishna. Shishnodara parayana. Because it is in a straight line. The tongue, the belly and the genitals. Once we eat rubbish, then our stomach is filled with rubbish. And that pressure goes down to the genitals, and this way the whole life, in fact the whole life, you see, in the 7th canto, the way of attachment in this material world is, there is some detail, and you see how it goes. Don't mind, because all these words are a bit harsh. But, as they say, dawa kadwa hota hai. In medicine has, it's a bit bitter. But in the end, it is nectar. Now, how can a person who is most affectionate to his family and family life, without offense to anybody, I know you are, everyone is a product of family life, right? But there is a correct way of maintaining family, there is a wrong way of maintaining family. The correct way of, it is not that we are against family life or nothing like that. Dharma viruddha kamosme. Family life is alright, but provided everybody is trained to become a devotee. Population is alright, but they have to become devotees. But if they don't, if we just, immerse ourselves in family attachment, we are running a very, very great risk. Now you see, what is the risk? How can a person who is most affectionate to his family, the core of his heart being always filled with their pictures, give up their association? Specifically, a wife is always very kind and sympathetic and always pleases her husband in a solitary place. Who could give up the association of such a dear and affectionate wife? Small children talk in broken language, very pleasing to hear, and their affectionate father always thinks of their sweet words. How could he give up their association? One's elderly parents and one's sons and daughters are also very dear. A daughter is especially dear to her father, and while living at her husband's house, she is always in his mind. Who could give up that association? Aside from this, in household affairs, there are many decorated items of household furniture, and there are also animals and servants. Who could give up such comforts? The attached householder is like a silkworm which weaves a cocoon and in which it becomes imprisoned, unable to get out. Simply for the satisfaction of two important senses, the genitals and the tongue, one is bound by material conditions. How can one escape? Now, of course, we have to give up all our family relations, everything. When death comes, we are forced out of this. But the thing is, again we enter into another episode of the same thing. We have already passed many episodes of family life. We have been having wives, children, parents, millions, trillions of times. That's why it is said, Janame janame shab pita mata paye, Krishna Guru nahi mile bhaja hari jaye. Krishna and Guru we cannot get every life. Pita Mata we can get every life. The ant also has, the dog also has, the tiger also has, the birds also have, everybody has, human beings have. But Guru and Krishna, that's where Yoga Yukta starts. Adav Gurvashrayam. But the self-realization under the guidance of Guru starts with the tongue. And just as material life here, what is that? Simply for the satisfaction of two important senses, genitals and the tongue, one is bound by material conditions. How can one escape? So the same thing if we use, especially starting with the tongue, in self-realization, that will be our cause of liberation. So the same process in different direction, that's it. Now, that is Yoga Yukta. Now, coming to the next. Vishuddhatma. Now, what happens when we Yoga Yukta, when we engage in devotional service, what happens? We become Vishuddhatma. Vishuddha means what? Purified. Shuddha means pure. Vishuddha means very pure. Now, why are we not pure now? What is our contamination? What is going on? Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.17 Shrinvatam svakatha Krishna punya shravana kirtanah hridyanthasto hi abhadrani vidhunoti suhritsatam. Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. What is that? Hridyantastho hi abhadrani. The impure things in our heart will be cleansed by devotional service. So what are the impure things? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. These things. There is a nice verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Kamadinam katina katidha palita durnideshas tesham jata maina karuna natrapano pashantihi utsrijyaita nathayadupate sampratam labdha buddhis tvamayata sharanam abhayam mamniyum svatmadasye. So, this is a beautiful verse. Here it is said, O my Lord, there is no limit to the unwanted orders of lusty desires. Although I have rendered these desires so much service, they have not shown any mercy to me. I have not been ashamed to serve them, nor have I even desired to give them up. O my Lord, O head of the Yadu dynasty, recently, however, my intelligence has been awakened and now I am giving them up. Due to transcendental intelligence, I now refuse to obey the unwanted orders of these desires, and I now come to you to surrender myself at your fearless lotus feet. Kindly engage me in your personal service and save me. So this is the prayer. Kamadinam katina katidha palita durnideshas. Kamadinam. Kama means lust. Adina means etc. Lust, anger, greed, illusion. This is the sequence, Because when we are lusty means not just sexual desire, but any desire to enjoy is lust. Topmost is sexual desire in this material world, that is called adi rasa. But any desire for sense gratification is kama. So dhyayato vishayan pumsa sangas teshu pajayate sangat sanjayate kama kamat krodho bhijayate. This is from Bhagavad Gita 2.62, second chapter, 62nd verse. Now, while contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them, and from such attachment lust develops, and from lust anger arises. The anger is called Kamanuja, not Ramanuja. Kamanuja. Kamanuja means the younger brother of Kama, lust. Why? Younger brother means one who is born after his elder brother, right? So anger comes later, after lust. Because when lust will never be satisfied. Lust is like fire. That is also explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Lust is like fire. The more fuel you put into the fire, the more the fire will burn. So just by supplying more and more sense gratification, the fire cannot be stopped. In fact, it becomes frustrated. Then anger arises. At one point, we cannot. And anger arises. Then what happens after anger? Continues, next verse. Krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibhramaha, smriti bhramshat buddhinasho, buddhinashat pranashyati. Sequence. From anger, complete delusion arises. And from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. Now, what is bewilderment of memory? Like, what do we forget? We forget that we are eternal servant of Krishna. And we have been living in this forgetfulness since time immemorial. This is our madness. We are all mad. You may not like to think that way, but everyone here is mad. We have to extricate ourselves from this madness. You see? We think we are very intelligent. Even a madman thinks he is very intelligent, you know. In the mental hospital, if you go, he thinks he is the most intelligent person. When the doctor comes, he will shout at the doctor, you don't touch me. You have no brain. You are the mental case. He will shout. He thinks he is the most intelligent person. The same way, we are also. There is a nice verse in the Bhagavatam 2.5.13. See, Vilajjamana yayasya sthatu mekshapathe muya vimohita vikathante mamaham iti durdhiyaha. The illusory energy of the Lord cannot take precedence, being ashamed of her position. But those who are bewildered by her always talk nonsense, being absorbed in thoughts of it is I and it is mine. Mamaham. It is mine, it is mine. We think, oh, this is my family, this is my home, this is my country, this is... What is mine? Madman speaks like that. If you go into a rented house and say, this is now my house, it's a scam. I mean, I think nowadays this is going on. These internet so-called millionaires, internet gurus, you know, they always, their YouTube advertisement and all this is like, they are doing a selfie, you know, like video, like vlog type, and then behind them, the backdrop is some big mansion. Actually, they rented it for a few days and for a photo, for the video shoot. But they say that this is my house and I have earned millions because of this, and you can also, you know, join this program. It's a scam. So, we are doing that. We are saying, oh, that guy is a scam. We all are scam. We think mamaham. We are talking what? Nonsense. Nothing is ours. Of course, in the society we will say, okay, this is mine. But we should always understand we are only a custodian of that property, but it's not our property. Under the care of C/O. Not, we are owner. So, but we are doing that. That is our problem. So, these are all, what is that? Avishuddha buddhaya, impure intelligence. So, Vishuddhatma means he gets cleared. These misconceptions of his life become erased. When we are clouded with misconceptions, that is called our impure soul. Soul is actually never impure. Just like gold. In the ore, when you mine gold, it doesn't look as attractive as you see in a jewelry shop, shining and glittering, and or when you mine, something is glittering and shining. No, nothing will shine there. Because it's covered with so many oxides, minerals and dust and mud. It doesn't look as attractive. Because it's covered with all this dust. But gold is not impure. The same gold, it is just covered with these things. When you remove all the coverings, gold will shine. So actually the soul is always pure. Then why it is Vishuddhatma here? When the coverings of dirtiness are taken out, all the muck that is there, all taken out, then yes. So what is this muck? This mamaham iti durdhiyaha, impure intelligence of thinking this is mine, this is I. That's why nirmamo nirahankara samadukha sukha kshami. These are the qualities we need to develop. We have to. That's why Ishopanishad says, Ishavāsamidam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjeta magridha kasya sviddhanam. Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. Who is the owner? Just like every property has a, this, what is it called? Title document. Yeah. This Ishopanishad is the title document for everything. All property owned by Krishna. Documented already. We cannot claim. Everything animate or inanimate that is within the universe is controlled and owned by the Lord. One should therefore accept only those things necessary for himself, which are set aside as his quota. And one should not accept other things, knowing well to whom they belong. So this thing is Vishuddhatma. When one is removed of all misconceptions of life, when he understands that he is not the body, first of all we claim ownership, and then we think we are the body. We don't even know who we are. We don't even know what is ours. And we are talking mamaham, this is me, this is I, this is mine. We don't know what is ours. We don't know who we are. This is called avishuddha buddhi. So when we know who we are, that is called Vishuddhatma. Now the next one is called Vijitatma. That is the next word. What is that? Vijitatma. One who is a victorious soul. Here it is translated as self-control. Why? Vijita means one who has, Jita means one who has conquered. Like Indra, Jit means one who has conquered Indra. Krishna is also called Indrajit because, Parijat flower story. And Meghnath also was called Indrajit, Ravana's son. Of course, Krishna is the supreme Indrajit. He conquered him twice in the same life. Same avatar. When he lifted the Govardhan hill once, later Parijat flower, another episode. Anyway, so Jita means one who is conquered, one who is victorious. Vijita means, completely. This is a hero. Now there are two types of heroes. Material hero and a spiritual hero. Material hero is he who was like Alexander the Great. He may conquer the whole world. But the spiritual hero is he who has conquered his own senses. I think even in the Bible it is said, what profiteth a man who has conquered the whole world but lost his eternal soul? What profiteth a man? So, same thing. So that is spiritual hero. Spiritual hero, a material hero, so-called, owner of so much property, he is completely out of control, his senses. He thinks enjoyment means, hero means I must enjoy my senses. Wine, women, property, whatever, money, whatever it is. That is the idea of enjoyment. Ravana was a perfect example of this. Hiranyakashipu. What is the meaning of Hiranyakashipu? The word Hiranyakashipu? He is a demon, right? He is a demon. But what is the meaning of his name? Do you know? Hiranya means what? Huh? You don't know? Not deer. No. Hiranya means gold. Hiranya Garbha. Hiranya means gold. And Kashipu means soft bed. Not bed, soft bed. Because everybody has bed. Dog also has bed. He sleeps on the street. There is also bed. In fact, once you sleep on the bed, you don't know what bed you are sleeping on, right? You may have a soft bed, but once you sleep on it, you don't know where you are sleeping. The dog also is sleeping on the hard floor, but he also doesn't know where he is sleeping. So anyway, soft bed. That means enjoying women. Enjoying gold means what? Where there is gold, there is all sinful activity. Kali, when Parishit Maharaj wanted to, he appeared right, he is the grandson of Arjuna. Arjuna was in Dwapar Yuga, and Parishit Maharaj, the grandson of Arjuna, is already in Kali Yuga, beginning of Kali Yuga. But Kali could not enter because of his stringent ruling. He was so strict as a king. Kali could not enter. What is the symptom of Kali? Where there is meat eating, illicit sex, gambling, intoxication. Why they could not enter? Because he was so strict. And one time, the personality of Kali, he was, killing a cow. So immediately Parikshit Maharaj took out his sword to kill the man. He said, no, please, have mercy on me. I am also your citizen, so I need your protection. So you send me somewhere. I need also a place of dwelling. Where can I live? And he said, okay, you live wherever there is meat eating, illicit sex, gambling, intoxication. Kali. Because he was Kali, right? So he said, all right, good, but there is no such place in your kingdom. Where can I live? Then he considered, Parikshit Maharaj, all right, you stay where there is gold. Because wherever there is gold, there is all these things. That means wherever there is money, all these things follow. So Hiranyakashipu means it is the symbol. He is a symbol of material enjoyment. So that is so-called material hero. Spiritual hero means he conquers his own senses. And Prahlad Maharaj was a spiritual hero. Hiranyakashipu was a material hero. And he is so-called, conquered the demigods also. Even the devatas they don't dare to come before him. Like Surya, he is in charge of the sunlight, and Indra is in charge of rainfall and all. But he alone, he drove away all the devatas. He alone was controlling rain, sun, wind, everything was alone controlling. Hiranyakashipu. What kind of hero is he? Correct? But he was never happy. Never happy. But Prahlad Maharaj, on the other hand, his own son, he controlled his senses completely. And he was always devotee of Krishna. And whatever Hiranyakashipu tried, nothing happened to Prahlad. And he conquered his senses, therefore he is the actual hero, real hero. And such a person even conquers Krishna himself. Who is the owner of everything, he can even conquer Krishna. That is real hero. So a real spiritual hero is one who has conquered his senses. Vijitatma. So these are all very important words in this verse. So, Yoga Yukto Vishuddhatma Vijitatma Jitendriyaha. Again, qualification of Vijitatma is Jitendriyaha. He has conquered his senses. That person who has conquered his senses, how to conquer? What is the meaning of conquering senses? That means he is not a servant of the senses. That is called Goswami. He is master of his senses. He will tell his senses what to do. He is not dictated by the senses what to do. Now our position is dāsa. Go means senses. And das means servant. We are now das of the senses. Whatever, if I see something, palatable, I want to eat. If I smell something, that smells yummy, I want to eat. Even it is rubbish. So this is how we are dragged by the senses in different directions. I mean, when I was in the college days, when one girl passes by, every boy is just looking. They're dragged by their eyes, they're dragged. The mind is dragged. In this way, one is dragged by the senses. That is Godas. Goswami means he has complete control. He will only employ the senses whenever necessary in the service of Krishna. Other times, he is withdrawn. Like the tortoise, the example is given of the tortoise. 2.58. Yada samharate chayam kurmongani vasarvashah indriyanindriyarthebhyas tasya prajna pratisthita. One who is able to withdraw his senses from sense objects as the tortoise draws its limbs within the shell is firmly fixed in perfect consciousness. So this is called Vijitatma Jitendriyaha, and such a person, going back to the verse, Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma, he has nothing to gain from this world. He is contented. When we are not contented, that means we are servant of the senses. We are having hankerings and lamentations. A person who has conquered his senses with Krishna consciousness, he has no wants in this world. Brahma bhuta prasannatma na sochati na kankshati. Samas sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate param. And he sees everybody equal. He does not calculate, this is my friend, this is my enemy, this is... How we make friendships and enemies in this life? Whoever favors my sense gratification, he is my friend. Whoever goes against my sense gratification, he is my enemy. Whoever doesn't disturb in my sense gratification or doesn't even help me, he is a neutral party. This is how we define people, define our relationships. Now, because a person who is Vijitatma does not want sense gratification, he has no distinction. He sees that Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the entire world is one family, because Krishna, he is the Sarva Yonishu Kaunteya Aham Bija Pradah Pita. Bijaham Sarva Bhutanam. Krishna is saying, I am the father of everybody. So he considers everybody is my family member, everybody is a servant of Krishna. And therefore he, Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma, he is compassionate upon the others. He sees their suffering, and most importantly, he knows how to solve that suffering. He does not, offer some, open this hospitals and schools. No, he knows that will not solve the problem. You can open millions of schools. The sufferings of birth, death, old age and disease are not going to go away. But if you can make the person after this death no more take birth again, that is real help. Helping the soul is real help. Not the body. Body will never, you help, however much you help, the body is meant for an end. It will die. But the soul is what we need to save. Like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, if somebody is drowning, if you go and catch his clothes and come out, yes, I have saved the person. What kind of saving is that? You caught the clothes, the person died. And died naked. That is not how we have to know what is saving actually. So the body, just serving the body and bodily needs, that is like trying to save the dress of the person. The real help is to the soul. The soul is suffering. And the soul is suffering because of lack of Krishna consciousness, an unfulfilled relationship, which is supposed to be with Krishna. And he is searching out the relationship everywhere in this material world. He will never find it. And a Krishna conscious person knows that, and therefore he preaches Krishna consciousness. He is not like simply convert people, for the sake of converting, we have more numbers. This is not his idea. He is actually compassionate. He is actually trying to help those people, everybody, to become devotees of Krishna. And kurvan apinalapati, one who acts like this, he will never have karmic reaction, because he is acting on the order of Krishna. Just like Arjuna, he fought on the order of Krishna. That is how we must act. Even if it appeared violent, Arjuna was apparently in violence, he was killing. But even then it was because it was order of Krishna. Everybody who died, they saw Krishna and died. In the last moment of their life on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, they all went back to Godhead. You see? That is when we follow the order of Krishna, even if it appears violent or not, it is always purifying. Of course, in our case, we don't have to do any violence. Ours is just chanting in Hare Krishna, in Kali Yuga, just chanting Hare Krishna. That is the only thing. Harer Nama, Eva Kevalam, Kalo Nastyeva, Gatiranyatha. Only Harinam, Harinam, Harinam. The name of Krishna we must chant. How difficult it is to chant. Every day we are talking rubbish for hours and hours on end. Always using our tongue. Why can't we chant? Using the same mouth instead of rubbish, chant Hare Krishna. Why can't we? We can. When we say chant 16 rounds, oh Prabhu, very difficult Prabhu. But if you count the number of words in 16 rounds, it comes to about 27,000 words. Every day, how many words we actually speak? About that much. In fact, more. It is said that, there are some statistics, rough statistics. Men speak about 25,000 words or something, women speak 50,000. So, we are almost there. We can do it. So, it is possible. So, we must do that. And it takes only 2 hours. 16 rounds. So, we have to do that. Alright, so in this way we have to develop compassion. And that compassion also helps the soul preach Krishna consciousness. Alright, so I will stop it here. It's already quite late. So, I will invite all of you to kindly proceed upstairs. Usually we have this Aarti, but already beyond that time. Now, please proceed upstairs for prasadam to the 5th floor, 0501, and also consider becoming a patron for our temple and support the preaching activities. We will see you upstairs, and if there are any questions, you can always ask the devotees upstairs. I think there is one question. Demon means one who has full ignorance mode and full consciousness, and how devatas fear ignorant person? Well, this is another question. We can always answer later. Alright. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Kodi Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari. Hare Krishna.